But as far as what else we got to talk about, let's run down, review, and recap last Saturday night's AEW Collision. Almost said Dynamite. So the show opens up, and we get the, Elton John song, Fighting's Good on a Saturday Night, or something, whatever the song's called. And out comes CM Punk in street clothes. And I go, okay, Punk opening the show. So Punk's going to open and close the show. Cool, because we knew that Punk-Joe match was main eventing. Anyways, Punk comes out and, interestingly, cuts his entire promo pacing ringside. Just walking back and forth. I'm like, this guy ever going to get in the ring? I guess not. He just keeps going back and forth. Whatever, it was different. Cool. Got a positive reaction this week, which was different as well. Punk says that this history with Joe makes their match feel like it's the final match of a tournament. But at the same time, he can't think like that because he's not going to overlook either Powerhouse Hobbs or Absolute Ricky Starks, because one of them will be making it to the finals. And when he beats Joe, he'll have to face one of them. Punk says that he's got scars and chipped teeth because of the wars he's been in with Samoa Joe. But history would be made tonight because of the name of Owen Hart. He says, this is not about me. This is not about Joe. This is not about anybody else. This is about honoring Owen Hart. He says that if it wasn't for Owen, most of that locker room probably wouldn't be there today because Owen inspired so many. He says that even though he's a hockey guy, he's not superstitious. He then touches the trophy. Says that he is not going to just get this trophy. He is going to earn this trophy. Punk can't promise the victory tonight, though. But he promises to give it everything he has for the fans and for Owen as he, leads the crowd in an Owen chant. Now, remember going into this match, Punk and Joe have had just some amazing, classic bangers back 20 years ago in Ring of Honor. And Punk lost all of them. Punk has never beat Joe before, this past weekend. Kevin Kelly then threw it to a video package detailing Samoa Joe and CM Punk's history in Ring of Honor and their trilogy of matches. Again, I wish this was so much longer. I wish this was so much more, because there is so much history here. There is such a story you can tell. You can run, as Brian Alvarez has been harping on all of his podcasts this past week, you can run a full TV special on just the history of Samoa Joe and CM Punk and their big trilogy of matches from Ring of Honor. Look, you could do a good regular TV show on TNT is 22 minutes, a 30-minute show. Actually, it runs 22 minutes. You can get a good 22 minutes of the history of Samoa Joe versus CM Punk and then end it with Punk has never beat Joe. Could that all change this weekend or something like that? I don't know. Anyways, Joe in this package says that there's never been a day in Punk's life where he was better than Joe. Punk also says that he will beat Joe for the very first time. Now, speaking of that tournament, we did have the Owen Hart Cup semifinal match between Ricky Starks and Powerhouse Hobbs, and, solid opener, but too much bullshit. I'm going to say that right now. Aaron Solo got involved. QT Marshall got involved. Johnny TV wasn't there, and Harley Cameron as well. And it was interesting because they're like, last week in the tournament, when he took on Dustin Rhodes, Hobbs had QT Marshall and Harley Cameron with him. But tonight, Aaron Solo was out here, which is different. And I go, oh, Aaron Solo going to get beat up at some point. I knew it. Why would they make a point, say, Aaron Solo wasn't here last week, but he is here this week? Because he going to take big-ass Hobbs spinebuster. Anyways, as far as the match does go, Hobbs overpowered Starks to start it off, but Starks was able to outmaneuver Hobbs and send him to the floor with the clothesline. Hobbs came back in the ring and laid Starks out with a lariat. Marshall then got involved, choking Starks while Hobbs had the referee distracted. Starks fought out of the corner and ran right into a back elbow from Hobbs. Hobbs eventually dropped Starks with a delayed vertical suplex. He sent Starks into the corner with a hard Irish whip as we went to a picture-in-picture break. Hobbs held Starks in a bear hug as we came back from the commercial. Starks elbowed his way free and he fired up, dropping Hobbs with a running clothesline. Hobbs then cut off a Rochambeau attempt and set it up by driving Starks into the corner and clubbing him with a bunch of clotheslines. Hobbs then took Starks to his shoulders and went to the top rope, but Starks slid down and took Hobbs down with the powerbomb for a near fall. Hobbs then ducked a springboard and fought off a tornado DDT, but Starks did take him down with a regular DDT anyways. Starks then set up for a spear, but Marshall clipped his leg. Hobbs then hit the spine buster, but the referee was dealing with Marshall on the apron and couldn't count the pin. Hobbs then told Marshall, get down. Basically like, stop, you're ruining this for me. But Starks bumped them both together, hit the spear, and picked up the win on Hobbs. So, instead of QT Marshall helping Hobbs win, he actually screwed Hobbs. This then now leads to Ricky Starks going to the finals next week in Calgary to face, well, as we now know, CM Punk. I thought after this match aired that there was the slightest of slights that Joe was winning that main event and going to the finals because they would do heel versus baby, not two babies. They're doing two babies now. But I, for a moment and for a while actually throughout the show, thought, oh, wow, Joe's going to beat Punk again. Joe's going to win. But he didn't. Anyways, we'll get to that later. After the match, though, QT tried to say he was sorry to Hobbs and plead his case. Hobbs shoved him in response. Aaron Solo then jumped in the ring, tried to defuse the situation, but nope. As I expected, he took a big old spine buster from Hobbs. Harley Cameron then jumped in to stop Hobbs from doing anything to QT, and he just kind of like stormed out of the ring. So Hobbs, whether this is his babyface turn or not, I don't think he's with QT anymore. I don't think he and QT TV or QTV or wherever you want to say it is the thing. Kind of expected it for some reason. I just had a feeling. Again, especially with Aaron Solo out there, I'm just like, oh, Hobbs is going to get costed the win, and Solo's going to take the brunt of the frustration, which he did. Then got another Miro promo. Miro said that he was ready to fight anyone. He said that no one would force him off of his path. He said that there was a battle coming, and one we've been waiting for a long time. And I'm like, okay, who? Who is this battle we've been waiting for a long time? Who is this that we've wanted Miro to fight for a long time? Who? I'd like to see him go back to WWE and fight Bob Lashley. But that's not going to happen anytime soon. We're not going to... what's the word I'm looking for? Get Bobby Lashley in AEW. But who... Let me know if you guys know in the chat or the comments below or whatever. Who the hell is Miro teasing that he's going to fight? He literally said, a battle is coming, and it's one you've been waiting for. I don't know what with Miro I've been waiting. I've just been waiting for Miro to be back in a ring. I don't care who it's against. I just want to see Miro beating ass, taking names. So before the show went on the air, we actually got the unfortunate news that Willow Nightingale was injured and could not compete in the tournament tonight. The match hopefully will take place next week on Rampage, technically Wednesday. Anyways, Willow's being interviewed in the back, says she's not medically cleared, and out would come Athena, or in frame would come Athena. Athena accused her of faking the injury to avoid loss, noting that Nightingale lost her strong title in Japan. Athena also says that you have stripped me of the right here tonight to make my Collision debut. Nightingale said that she wanted the match. She hopes that she can take this match to Rampage next week. She says she also wants to challenge Athena for the ROH Women's World title once she beats her in the tournament. Athena said if Nightingale made it to Rampage and beat her, sure, she'll give her a title shot. So maybe at, what's the next one? Not Death Before Dishonor, is it? What's the next ROH pay-per-view? Oh, crap. It is Death Before Dishonor. So maybe at Death Before Dishonor, we could be seeing Athena versus Willow for the ROH Women's title. We got a video package hyping up Blood and Guts. The match takes place not this Wednesday, but next Wednesday. We then had Julia Hart versus Bambi Hall. Never heard of Bambi Hall before. Hall did use her size, though, as an advantage to take Hart down, but Hart tripped Hall on a drop down and clubbed her. Also, I've been thinking about this. Ain't it a shame that Julia Hart is not in the Owen Hart tournament? Just saying. It was here the commentary noted the next week's Collision will be followed by a live episode of Battle of the Belts, which we already knew, which means we're getting 3 hours of AEW on TV next week in a row. Hart then hit a chop block before locking on the Rings of Saturn and picked up the victory. Malachi Black cut a promo saying that Andrade didn't become who he was until he lost his mask. Black says that Andrade holds onto his mask like a child holding onto his teddy bear. He wants Andrade to show the world how great he truly is. But this is an interesting one. Very interesting one. We know Malachi Black and Andrade are actually friends in real life. And so I like that they're working together here on Collision and whatnot. But I don't know where this is leading to. Is it just going to lead to a Malachi Black versus Andrade match? Also, is Malachi Black saying that he didn't become who he is? Well, it's exactly what he's saying, actually. He didn't become who he is till he lost his mask. When did he lose his mask? Well, he had a loser leave a mask match in Mexico right before he went to WWE. And so, yeah, found himself in WWE. Lexi Nair was backstage with Andrade and asked him what his mask actually means to him. Andrade said that he's not a coward like Black, though. He doesn't hide. He says that his mask represents himself, his family, his culture, and his people. When his mask is on, it's time for business. When he takes it off, it's time to fight. So basically, the mask hypes him up right before he's ready to go. Then, a great tag match. A great tag match. It was an eliminator tag. The titles weren't on the line, but it was FTR against Bullet Club Gold, Juice Robinson and Jay White. This match, as the kids say, humped. This is good. Really good. The White started it off with Dax, and Harwood forced White to the ropes. Robinson and Wheeler tagged in, with Wheeler vaulting Robinson to the floor and forcing him to tag out. Wheeler avoided a double team, with Harwood coming into the ring to drop both White and Robinson with German suplexes as we went to a picture-in-picture break. White then sent Harwood into the buckle as we came back from said break. Robinson tagged in and sent Harwood into the buckles chest first before hitting a snap suplex for a near fall. Harwood dropped Robinson with a back elbow before tagging out and assisting Wheeler with a leg drop for a near fall. Wheeler's drop kick scored him another near fall. Robinson and Wheeler traded chops before Robinson bit Wheeler's forehead. Robinson went to the top, but Wheeler took him down with a Manhattan drop. Wheeler hit 10 punches in the corner, but Robinson sent him to the floor with a stun gun. White then dropped Wheeler's stomach first onto the apron to firmly take control. The Bullet Club team worked over Wheeler's midsection. White then spat on Harwood before locking on a Muda lock, but Harwood chopped White to break it up. White sent Harwood into the barricade, allowing Wheeler to fight back. Wheeler then caught White in a small package, but Robinson had the referee's attention. White then suplexed Wheeler in the corner to retake the advantage. Wheeler fought free and made the tag, but Harwood was fighting off Robinson, so no tag was made. Harwood got knocked off the apron, forcing Wheeler to fight 2-on-1. White low-bridged Wheeler to the floor as we went to a commercial break. Back from the break, Wheeler dodged a corner charge before finally getting the tag to Harwood, who ran wild on the BCG. Harwood then caught White with a small package before dropping him with a brainbuster for a near fall. The crowd starts chanting, "This is awesome. This is awesome. This is awesome." Harwood brought White to the top rope. Robinson headbutted Harwood down, but Wheeler dropped Robinson with a side suplex in the ring. Harwood then got back to the top rope, hitting a powerplex alongside Wheeler for a close near fall. FTR then set up the spike pile driver, but White sent Harwood to the floor. Robinson hit Wheeler with a left hand of God, setting up for the Blade Runner. FTR blocked it, but Robinson broke up a Shatter Machine attempt. FTR then hit the spike pile driver for a near fall on on White, but Robinson broke it up. Robinson then tagged in, but White got the blind tag. Juice Box was hit into a Blade Runner and scored a near fall. Crowd kindly started chanting "Fight Forever," like "Fight Forever." Like it wasn't a loud "Fight Forever" chant, but it was there and it was pretty good. There's a Pier 4 brawl that broke out, ending in Harwood hitting a rebound powerbomb on White for a near fall. Harwood hit a sliding uppercut for another near fall. Wheeler took out Robinson, but White dropped Wheeler in a Blade Runner. Harwood and White exchanged chops and forearms before Robinson tagged in blindly. Harwood then rolled up White, not realizing Robinson had made the tag. That allowed Robinson to hit the facebuster and pick up the win to earn themselves a future shot at the titles. As we learn later, 2 out of 3 falls next week. So we get Sean Spears in a video package here, highlighting his time as, quote, the chairman. Christian then noted that Spears would get a title match next week at Battle of the Belts against, well, Luchasaurus. That match will be taking place next week. Luchasaurus defending the TNT title against Shawn Spears. And it's like, anybody could just get a title match in AEW, even if you've been gone forever. Like, when was Shawn Spears' last actual... Spears? Shawn Spears cage match. Shawn Spears. He took on the Blade last week on Rampage. Worked a couple of house... So, trying to see when his last televised AEW match was. Back in April. He teamed with Ricky Starks against Bullet Club Gold. Back in April. For that, he hadn't wrestled an AEW match. Wow. Okay. So, Ricky Starks had two matches. Not Ricky Starks. He teamed with Ricky Starks. So, Shawn Spears had two matches for AEW on television back in April. Before that, hadn't worked an AEW match since October. Mid-October. Holy crap. I mean, even before that, hadn't worked a match since the cage match against against Wardlow in May. So yeah, what the hell, guy? You just don't want to work? They don't want to put you in match? I don't know what's going on. But he's going to face Luchasaurus next week for the title. Whoopee. Who cares? He didn't earn it. After a commercial break, Tony Schiavone was in the back with FTR, although they were quickly interrupted by Bullet Club Gold. Jay White noted that they had beaten FTR twice now, 2 separate weeks, because they won the 8-man, I think it was, and then they won this week. So they want to beat them again, but twice in one night. They challenged FTR to a 2 out of 3 falls match next week, and FTR did accept. So next week's Collision is shaping up to be a big show. We got this 2 out of 3 falls tag title match. We got the finals of both the men's and women's tournaments, so it's going to be a big show. And hopefully next week's Collision does good. We also got this past weekend on Collision, Scorpio Sky making his big in-ring return, taking on Action Andretti. Andretti kept up with Sky on the mat until he ducked down, and Sky missed a back. No. Andretti kept up with Sky on the mat until he ducked down for a back body drop when Sky jumped up and hit a double stomp on Andretti's back. After a commercial break, Andretti was fighting out of a shinlock and firing up on Sky. Andretti hit a dive to the floor. Back in the ring, Sky avoided a springboard 450, but ran into a Spanish fly for a close near fall. Andretti then hit a shotgun dropkick, but hit Sky's knee on a split-legged moonsault. Andretti then caught Sky with a roll-up out of a TKO attempt, but Sky kicked out and hit the TKO for the win. I love seeing Scorpio Sky back. I've always been a big proponent of Scorpio Sky, back to his SoCal Uncensored days, or I think that's what they were, SoCal Uncensored. Anyways. Yeah, SCU. That's what they were. Anyways, yeah. I hope we get more Scorpio Sky. I hope this isn't like, oh, he's here and there, sometimes, whenever. No. I hope he's more prominent now on Collision going forward. We're going to get a rundown of next week's Dynamite, featuring the semifinals of the Blind Eliminator Tournament. Orange Cassidy and Darby Allin versus Daniel Garcia and Sammy Guevara. MJF and Adam Cole versus Big Bill and Brian Cage. Commander versus Chris Jericho. Ruby Soho versus Sky Blue in the Woman Heart Memorial Tournament. And Nick Wayne against Swerve Strickland in his AEW debut. Speaking of Collision next week, we got the finals of both the men's and the women's tournament. Owen Hart tournament, that is. FTR will take on Bullet Club Gold in a 2 out of 3 falls match with the AEW tag titles on the line. And then we had the match we've all been waiting for. 20 some odd years in the making, with a big gap in between where the two weren't in the same company. It's CM Punk. It's Samoa Joe. It's the Owen Hart Foundation tournament. My Facebook is going crazy. Why? I'm getting messages after messages after messages. Anyways, turn that off. Anyways, great match. I loved it. Finish kind of felt flat because all of a sudden I'm just like, oh, it's over. It's done. That's it. They wanted to keep Joe strong. And I'm going to give my prediction, my fantasy booking reason why I think they, even though in defeat, wanted to keep Joe still looking strong. I have a theory, a big theory. Joe and Punk started things off kind of slow, with Punk avoiding chops and landing a few of his own. Joe locked on a knuckle lock, winning it before Punk kicked free and chopped him again. Punk then locked on a headlock, calling back to their ROH trilogy, as I've been told. Punk then kept avoiding chops, but Joe walked out of the way of a crossbody before finally landing a chop to Punk's back and his chest. Joe hit yet another chop and kicked Punk down before dropping Punk with punches in the corner. Joe then dropped Punk with a back elbow. Joe went for a face wash in the corner, but Punk avoided it. Punk went to the second rope, but Joe chopped him over the top to the floor as he went to a picture-in-picture break. Joe then knocked Punk down as he came back from said break. Joe locked Punk in a chin lock, but missed a knee drop as Punk tried to fire up. Punk hit a leg lariat and a rising knee as Joe caught him in a coquina clutch. Punk dropped him with the back suplex. Punk then hit another trio of rising knees. Punk then went to the top for the elbow drop and hit one for a near fall. Punk called for the go to sleep, but Joe took him down with a crossface. Punk did get to the ropes to break the hold, but Joe caught him with a snap power slam for a near fall. The crowd started chanting for Owen Hart as Punk caught Joe with a high kick for a near fall. Punk went to the top again, but Joe cut him off and went for the muscle buster. Punk fought out and dropped Joe with the neck breaker. He went for the go to sleep again, but it got avoided again. Punk then slipped out of a coquina clutch and just rolled Joe up to pick up the victory out of nowhere. Just all of a sudden just rolls him up. 1, 2, 3. That's it. Just rolls him up. That's it. Like what? The what? But we now know that next week in the finals of the Owen Hart Foundation men's tournament, CM Punk will take on Ricky Starks. Now, after the match, Joe and Punk stare each other down. Crowd chants for Owen as Joe offers a handshake. Punk looked weary to accept it. Should he? Should he not? Should he? Should he not? He shouldn't have, because Joe snatches him up and puts him in a coquina clutch while shouting that Punk will never be better than Joe. Joe then grabbed a chair, but FTR would run down to the ring to stop Joe from, I guess you could say, attacking Punk with the chair. Ricky Starks then came out on the stage as FTR was checking on Punk. Theory time. Here's my theory. Here's what I think is going to happen. So Joe was fine coming out of this with a loss. Joe gets rolled up. Joe gets pinned. Punk goes to the finals. Well, I don't think Punk wins the finals. I think Punk loses to Ricky Starks because Samoa Joe costs him the match. Because Samoa Joe screws Punk out of the finals. With Punk saying how much this tournament means to him, because how much Owen Hart means to him, and how much paying tribute to Owen Hart means to him, Punk is going to be Joe's going to be on the warpath. Joe is going to be looking for revenge, and what better way to get revenge is to screw Punk out of winning the Owen Hart Cup tournament. Then, here we go. Then, I think this leads to Punk losing, Punk getting mad, and challenging Joe to a match in Wembley at All In. And then we get a big, huge CM Punk versus Samoa Joe match in Wembley. That's just my theory, my prediction. Haven't heard anybody say that for certain, that something like that can happen. But that's what I think is going to happen. Joe screws Punk in the finals, leading to Punk making the challenge and the two having a match at Wembley. I mean, that's going to be one of the biggest matches they can do, especially with the history of them and ROH and their trilogy of matches. Punk has now beaten Joe, but Joe has still beaten him 3 times. Punk only once, and if you look at it, it was a fluke win. But that's what I think could happen. Overall, though, I did think this was a good episode of Collision. I really liked it, and I'm ready for next week. Next week's got a couple really good matches, big matches, important matches. We'll have to wait and see exactly how they all go.